everyone, welcome to my presentation. I am Cindy Erika Damanik. Here I will explain something important to you. I will explain about the importance of cross-cultural understanding in foreign language teaching in the Asian context on the journal article created by a student named Dian Ratnasari. Let's take a look at this slide. What is language? Language is a system of conventional vocal signs by means of which human beings communicate. As a human, we need language to communicate with each other. Communication is one of the most important things in humans' life. When the communication, there is a sender or communicator and the communicant or receiver. The communicator sends a stimulus, and the communicant receives the stimulus. The form of the stimulus and the response can be non-verbal or verbal. In verbal communication, both communicator and communicant use words that can be understood by each other. It can be concluded that verbal communication has tight relationship with language because words are part of language. There are two kinds of language, namely first language and second language. First language or mother language is a language that is acquired naturally in early childhood. My first language is Bahasa Indonesia, which I used in my daily life, and I have used it since I was a kid. Second language is language learned after the basics of the first have been acquired. The second language learning can be distinguished in three different forms. Those are second language, foreign language, and auxiliary language. For example, a boy learns Spanish in Spain. It means that he learns Spanish as second language. When a person learns a foreign language in his or her country, he or she learns that language as foreign language. For example, a girl learns German in Indonesia. It means that she learns German as foreign language. People who learn auxiliary language for some purposes. As example, Chinese people learn English for business. It means that he or she learns English as auxiliary language. Next, I will briefly explain about language use and culture. In the language use, it's not only the forms of the language, but also cultural contexts that make up meaning. That's why there are some cultural aspects are included in the learning material, because some cultural differences can be a problem for the students. As example, Asia is a huge continent that consists a lot of nations, people, and culture. So, in teaching and learning foreign language, especially in the Asian context, need the knowledge about culture. Cross-cultural understanding is the ability to recognize the cultural differences, make correct interpretation, and react properly to people or situations in the communication with these communities. The goal of training the cross-cultural understanding is to help students acquire attitudes, knowledge, and skills needed to successfully function within their own microculture, mainstream culture, and the global community. In this slide, I will explain about three kinds of approaches. The teachers use these approaches in teaching the culture, namely cognitive approach, communicative approach, and intercultural approach. I will explain more about these approaches. The first one is cognitive approach. It is used to get knowledge and facts. The teaching content relates to data and facts. The teaching materials consist of some different things. For example, history, economy, geography, politics, and some cultural phenomenon like customs, norms, and values. In this approach, the student and teacher should exchange information about facts, data, and numbers. The students tend to learn objectively and systematically. The second one is communicative approach. It is used to get fluency in communication. The culture materials are taught together with foreign language materials. In this approach, the students learn the materials from some sources such as text, videos, or film. The most important thing is the authenticity of the teaching materials. Authentic materials mean that these teaching materials show the real situation in the target language country. Authentic materials are informative. On the other hand, these kinds of materials are oriented in language attitude and giving examples about the communication forms. Last but not least, intercultural approach has similarity with the communicative approach. In this approach, culture is also part of the language class. It means that the cultural teaching and learning are integrated with language class. The teaching goal of this approach is that the students have the ability knowing something new or different in a foreign culture and the competence to communicate in a situation with different culture. Thank you.